Hi, good evening. My name is Jay Rothman, and welcome to Real Men, Real Talk Live. Hi, good evening. Again, my name is, in fact, Jay Rothman. I'm the host of the show, Real Men, Real Talk. I'd like to welcome to the show tonight, coming in from Nashville, Tennessee, Mr. Jeff Fasano. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay.
We have Evis Love Heath, the man of the land from down under, also
Thanks for having me,
known
brother.
as Australia. Welcome from across the pond.
Thanks for having me as always, brothers.
And we actually have coming in from Santa Monica, California, Josh Richer. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
So good to be here.
Good to be back, man. Always so quick between shows now.
It's time is flying, but we do have actually Charles Maddox is not with us this evening. He is out in the field making them deals happen. And so we missed Charles, and we will welcome Charles back in the studio next week. But in any event, so it's the four of us, another quad show. And yes, a week has come and gone quickly. One more week of the calendar of 2020 is behind us. Last week, we touched really deep on the topic of, are we lonely? Are we feeling lonely? And we really broke it down pretty well. This week in our production meeting, we chose a topic that we all have faced and continue to face in our own lives. It's about obstacles. You know, what obstacles are we living in or have we lived in that have prevented us from enjoying the life that we all deserve? Mm-hmm. And within the topic of obstacles, it really comes down to really where are the blocks, what causes the obstacles, and how can we bust through them? How can we shred them so that we can be free? It's like we don't have to live in that heavy weight of something that we want to achieve, but we're scared, we're fearful to do just that. And so what I'd like to do is really open it up to you guys. Again, welcome to the show this evening. And let's dive deep into how can we overcome the obstacles in our life, really what our obstacles about. And with that, I'm going to invite Josh Richer to open us up this evening for a change.
All right.
We haven't heard. Figured we'd give Josh like 15 minutes of the entire show, just to catch up on what he's missed the last couple of weeks.
I was hoping I'd get a little warm up. Listen to you guys a little bit, get my feet wet again on the show, and. But no, thank you, Jay.
Straight in there, brother.
The way I see it is you were off for 2 weeks, so you had 2 weeks to like mentally prepare for tonight.
There you go.
Wow. Well, there's a lot in there that needs to come out right now.
Right. But we were just saying too, right before we went live, that we never prepare for the show because it always just happens. And we've all leaned so deeply into surrender and our own vulnerability on this show. And we trust each other so much that we just come in and let go.
Yeah,
and
we just turn up. That's it.
I know. It's beautiful.
Who's ever out there that thinks we actually did plan for this stuff is like, we just let the cat out of the bag, folks.
The secret sauce right here.
Really?
Josh, I want to take a moment here before you jump in and really kind of frame it out for you.
Tee it up.
It was just about 3 or 4 months ago that you got word that one of the major shows that you've been associated with for 13, 14 seasons now had chosen to go into a bubble and go into the season in a bubble in a state on the West Coast. I don't know if we're allowed to disclose that now.
We can say it now. They're advertising.
Las Vegas,
yeah. I shot Shark Tank in the Venetian Hotel in Vegas for 2 whole months.
Right. And there was no gambling. You were basically on lockdown. You had a separate elevator to go from set to your room. and meals were in your room pretty much, I believe. Maybe, I don't know. But not getting into the minutia, but I remember it felt like a couple of 24 hours ago that you and I were having a conversation when you got word that your life was about to change. You had to step into this bubble, this experience that was new for everybody on set, and you had no idea how it was going to impact you. And for me, as a friend, looking in from the outside, I was in my heart space. I was really seeing a lot of the negative. I was seeing all of the things that were potential obstacles for you. And the one that I really was most concerned about was just your mental health and your self-care, your well-being as a friend.
Yeah.
And that for me was my concern. Would that be an obstacle for you to make it through as many weeks and couple of months that you were living in that environment? And so, there's your setup. Maybe it's there. That's where you're welcome to go. What were the obstacles that you had to overcome, literally driving into this bubble and then performing and going to work for 12 plus hours a day with no days off. I think the first time you went 22 days in a row without a day off.
Yeah.
So you're welcome to bring us in right now in this moment, sharing any obstacles that you had go through, perhaps maybe you overcame in this process, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Jay. And I'm so excited to be back and with you guys. I just love you all so much, and love this space. So I'm excited to be back. And yeah, I mean, it's funny, the obstacles of not being able to go into the outside world and interact with nature, or even really see a full sky. It was limited. We had a loading dock was our only real outside access, and we could only walk a few feet out into the sun or even the evening after work. And living in that closed environment, I think what it did for me, and here's where I'm going to go with this, Jay, is that it exposed the bigger obstacle, which was myself. And having everything stripped away and all of life's distractions. And I was sitting in my room, and I talked about this briefly on one of the shows from the bubble, from the secret location that you guys didn't know where I was. But I realized that I had been believing this belief that I'd worked so hard in my tech business to work from a beach on a laptop. That's been my dream forever. And so I worked, 10 plus years grueling to start this startup and get it going and funded. And then it all exploded and blew up. And that became my rebirth. And through my crash, my emotional crash. But I was doing all of that to work from a beach on a laptop. And I moved into coaching. I realized my passion after my big emotional and financial crash, and that was coaching others how to deal with depression, anxiety. And I've been building that business and online products so that I can work from somewhere else, somewhere tropical, somewhere wonderful that feeds my soul. And I was laying in bed going, God, I've spent my entire 30s with this obstacle. I thought it was money. I thought it was situational. I thought the obstacles were outside of me. And I actually realized, and it was a beautiful, beautiful realization, that I can do this now. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And it doesn't have to be this box or the way that I had built it to look. I can just go. And I've decided to do that. And as soon as Bali opens up, I'm going to move to Bali for the next 5-6 months, foreseeable future, who knows? But the obstacle was me. It was inside my head. I had built the walls around me that were keeping me closed in, keeping me in Los Angeles, keeping me in that financial deficit mindset, you know, that lack, and that I couldn't do this. So my big breakthrough came in the bubble when I realized that I was my obstacle, and that I can, even with all my fears, move forward and move towards that goal, and achieve that goal finally for the first time in like my adult life. And I've worked so hard for this. So yes, the bubble was an obstacle itself, but it revealed the real obstacle.
Beautiful, beautiful, brother. And so happy for you, man, that you've got to that place right now.
Yeah.
Magic, man. Magic.
I'm thrilled. I feel alive again. And there's hope. There's hope. You know, it's not this. For so long, I thought it all hinged on money, or it all hinged on opportunity, or it all hinged on the other people, other things. Yes, Mary, let's all go. Everybody come with.
So you know, we're really dealing with old programming again, and you know what I've seen from this year. I mean, I think we've all started to see that our false sense of security has been collapsed, and a lot of those programs that you're talking about, you know, it's coming back to that inside job, and we're starting to see really that ego, you know, being able to sit in the vehicle, so to speak, as we talk about, but it's really coming to the knees, and we do have to give it purpose to go along on this ride. And I think many of us, even myself, we're starting to see that really the simpler life is the one that we were really going for. It doesn't have to be this big show with the glitz and glamour. I mean, we're seeing all the glitz and glamour and the holy weird really come down in fails, aren't we? So we're starting to realize that as we really come back to the simpler things in life, that whole illusion, that whole hologram of what we perceive to be what you guys call the American dream, or whatever dream it may look like, is really starting to come to its knees. And I think for me too, you know, having that similar sort of comparison with you, Josh, and many men that I help, I feel just through us having this conversation tonight, a lot of people, a lot of our community are going to start to see that really just coming back to self and seeing that the true happiness is going to come from within, and everything that we do seek, or that we do intentionally want, or we have a need, if you want to say that, in our lives, will naturally embrace and attract to what frequency that we're resonating on. So yeah, Jeff.
You know, I wanted to ask Josh a question, because I threw out a video today, and for me, it always comes down to feelings inside of us. What if we're actually allowing the feelings, or is avoiding the feelings our obstacle? So Josh, when you've been thinking about Bali and thinking about making this move, I've made, you know, 2 big moves in my life, 3 big moves in my life. When you would think about it and had the dream, what was coming up inside of you? What were the feelings that were coming up inside of you? And what were the voices that said, "Are you crazy?" you see what I'm getting at? It's like
No, I see exactly where you're getting at, Jeff.
Yeah, it's like what's in there? Because before we went on the air, you know, we all know that the obstacles are within. So what were you feeling? What was coming up?
And for me, I could tell you exactly what it was. The money obstacle was it. Now that I'm aware and I can look back, the money obstacle was an excuse. The job situation was an excuse. What was underneath was that I didn't deserve it. And that's where I'm challenging that old belief now, was that
Beautiful.
I didn't deserve to have that.
Some beautiful awareness, man. And wow.
You know, guys, wow. I'm glad I asked that question. And that's the beauty of this show, because you just hit me, Josh. I had all of these wonderful things that I wanted to say, but underneath everything from me is I don't deserve it. Wow. Why did I ask you that question? Yeah. I think about the things that the things that are really important to me, and what I really want. And I've done a lot, and I've accomplished an awful lot. But I've always wanted to have that special relationship with someone. And what feelings come up? What feelings come up? And I feel all the feelings. I feel the fear. I feel they're not good enough. They're not perfect enough. I can't take care of you, all of that. But damn it, you just hit it, man. For me, underneath it all, for what I really want is I don't deserve it. And damn it, man. Wow. I don't know what yeah. Thanks, dude.
It's beautiful, brothers.
Wow. That's my biggest obstacle for what I really want. It's that.
So let me ask you this, Jeff. Well, first of all, you said why did I ask the question? You asked the question because you were looking for the answer for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And that's beautiful. And I just want to take a moment just to honor you, Jeff Fasano and Josh Richer, for both showing up tonight and and being vulnerable and showing exactly where you're at. Jeff, this is a powerful moment for you. This is a moment that I'm now going to turn the camera and ask you a question, which is, you are a man that has had such tremendous, from an outsider looking in, my perspective of you is a man that's had a lot of success in your life, a lot of compliments, a lot of, good job, a lot of reward through your career. And yet here you are in this moment, acknowledging, even with all of that, is it still doubting that you're enough, and that you deserve it? That's your biggest obstacle, perhaps, like Josh said.
Yep.
My question is what will it take? What will it take for you to believe the truth? Do you know?
I am like Josh. It's coming, and it's coming, and it's coming, and it's coming. But I'll be honest with you, I did not realize underneath all of that until right now that that's my obstacle.
So let me ask you this, Jeff. Even if this is I want to ask you this question, but
good.
I think for so many of us, men and women, the wounds are so deep from our past, the downloads, the programming, what we heard, what we interpreted to be our truth about ourselves as younger selves, has given us such a strong internal tattoo, cellular memory, that it's almost like, whether it be you or even individuals that have had success either in corporate America or on a screen, there's still this lack of, there's still that inner feeling. Look, when I made it to a senior vice president role, this is my truth. I shared this with you guys. I don't know if I shared this live. But in my mind, in my being, I always felt I heard this voice saying, it's only a matter of time they're going to find out the truth. And once they know it, you'll be gone. That I didn't have the talent. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough for that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
That fear, that obstacle was always there for me, almost 8 solid years. And it impacted my health. It impacted my mental health. It impacted my physical health. It impacted my relationships. And so it comes back to that question. How can we break through and bust up the old BS about ourselves that even with tremendous success in life, depending on how we want to measure that, what is it going to take?
I think I'm telling you guys, I just had, that's why I miss you, dude, Josh. I don't know what it is, but you just held that mirror right up to me. And the first step, I just had, wow, an aha moment that I need to sit with and really go, wow. I mean, the most important thing is that I just, like I said, there are wonderful things I wanted to say until Josh just said underneath it all, it was, I thought I didn't deserve it. Then you hit me. So what I'm saying, and I know I'm rambling a bit, is to be open, to really have that mirror put right in front of your face. And Josh just did it right on this show for me to acknowledge in your heart that that's my obstacle. That's we can be on the surface. Josh just hit me to the core of what my obstacle for things that I want to eat moving forward in my life. Jay, I have accomplished an awful lot in my photography career and other areas of my life. But here's the thing: in some way, shape, or form, I mean, Josh has, Evis have, and Jay, you have too. That's out here. That's on the outside. You know, I pick up my camera. That's out here. What Evis just said about taking our life and bringing our life into something that's so basic and simple. When I look at this, it comes down to, I want intimacy. I want a partner. I want to open my heart and really, really share that with someone where it's a safe place to land. And then when Josh just said, I can tell people this, I can talk about it. And for me, it's that part of, you know what? Yeah, I deserve that. I deserve it. As if I was telling, yeah, Josh, dude, Bali, you deserve it. Evis, I could tell you guys. And I think it's about saying, am I ready to stand there naked and have that mirror held up to me to find that core obstacle inside of us and be ready to hear it, to take it in. And what I know is that I had the three of you right there to hold that space.
Yeah, Jeff.
Feel that, brother.
And I think that's the first step in all of this. And then if we acknowledge it and we're ready to move on it, then we can move through it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, brother. Yeah, man.
This show is real.
Welcome back, Josh.
Ev, Is this not Real Men, Real Talk Live?
Real Man, Real Talk Live, brother. Raw, Jay, raw.
Right.
But
Well,
you hit
yeah.
it on the head.
Ev, what do you make? You've been a solid listener here, and we've had this love fest between Josh and Jeff, and it's time for you to kind of sift through it all, and make sense of what the heck we are talking about here.
Really?
Mhm.
Because I'm telling you right now, I'm
all
just in
ears.
another dimension, Evis.
Oh, I love it, brother. I love it. And this is the magic. It's these beautiful feelings and emotions that we're having this beautiful emotional purge down here on planet Earth. And we're starting to really get this emotional intelligence that we're always talking about. And you hit it on the head, brother. And you talk about this intimacy. I mean, we really don't have to look too far in the world anymore. You look for brothers on the other side of the pond on a Real Men Real Talk Live. You can look across the dinner table at home to your spouse. You could look at your co-worker. Your fears are going to face up in front of you day to day at this point of the game. Your awareness, once you face those fears, is going to really benefit you, because before we go into that hormonal stress response, and some of these fears absolutely drown us through those hormonal responses over time. And those, like Jay said, that cellular memory gets embodied in the body, then we can actually get to the core. This is a time to pull the root out of that unworthiness, out of that devalued that you may have had, or you may not have been seen or heard as a child. So when we get to that root and we started to become aware of some of those fears, which really are past. They're in the past. They're not in our present. They are stories. So when we get to the bottom of these emotions in these stories, we can come back to the now. And that way, if we want to attract that beautiful beloved in our life, if we want to go for a trip down to Bali, well, we've got a clean slate. And now we can actually start creating and not be in the lack of program. Because when you're in fear, you are limited. You are in lack. Mm-hmm. You are not bound in that possibilities. But on that other spectrum, as we're always talking about, in possibilities and infinite potential, man, you've got a clean slate. Your fears are behind you, or you're working and you're managing your fears, then you're able to create the show that you want to see out here. Because that's the beautiful time we've got right now. And we can do that through these beautiful conversations, seeing in each other's mirrors and facing our own fears. And you said it right on the head. I mean, in the end, this creates our resilience. It creates our inner strength. So when these fears or obstacles come up within our lives again, we're going to be able to hit them for 6 and be able to move forward into the life that we want to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I said today in my little video, how much are we telling our story?
It's a story. It's a story.
Yeah.
Walter here says, pull the root and change the story along with the physiology.
There you go, brother. There you go, man. Exactly what I'm saying.
Lisa Fox says, forget about it. Let's just reframe the story. Let's just change the story.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that Lisa says that because a few of my clients in coaching have said to me, like, well, how do you get out of that story when you're stuck in it? And what my answer has and will continue to be is I changed the song. And then the follow-up question inevitably has been, well, what happens if that doesn't work? I then change the station. I'm talking not just figuratively, but that's how I do it. Because when I'm in nature connecting, I've got my music on, and music is really part of my healing. And I really pay attention to when I get out of the moment and I'm in future thought, or I'm in thought about something either from the past or in the future. And one of my ways back there is I change the beat. I change what's coming through my ears and basically flushing my whole body out. Yeah, so sometimes we can always give ourselves permission to change the song or change the station. But the key is to have the awareness that there I go again, one more time. I'm there. And I don't want to be there. I want to be here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Josh. Go.
That intentional reframing is so powerful because, you know, as we've all talked about it on the show in the past, is that those thoughts lead to emotions, and those emotions release cortisol and stress in our body, and by reframing those thoughts, by choosing new thoughts, it generates new emotions from within, and we do elevate ourselves and elevate our energy, and that releases dopamine and we feel better. And so, you know, we believe that we're on this out of control treadmill of these old wounds and old stories, but we have a very, very powerful tool, which is called choice. And like you said, Jay, the first step is awareness. We gotta know we're in the story and be aware that it's running again, that song is playing again. And then we can say, this is where I get to change the station.
Yeah.
And really knowing what station you want to go on. Like, do you know the station you want to listen to? Have you got a plan? Have you got the blueprint ready? Otherwise, we keep falling into those stations that you're talking about in those other tunes.
We've got to be so willing now.
What's that?
Yeah, 100%.
We've got to be just so we have to. It's really to a point now where, if we're talking about the story, I have a friend who has been telling the same story for a long, long time, and he's not willing to even be told that he's telling the same story. You have to be willing. We have to be willing to say, what do you want? Because we're all having right now what we want, based on where we are in our process in life. We all have something that we say we want. You know, I know what I say I want. It was just revealed right now. Josh says, I want to live in Bali. We have something we say we want, but we don't have it. So what is the story that we keep on telling ourselves why we can't have it? So we have to be really willing and to have that mirror held up to us and say, do you really want to change your life? Do you really want to change your life? Because that story could be some hell of a comfort zone for you.
Yeah, man.
Do you really, really want to have what you say you want? And I'm looking right in my eyes and asking you a question right now.
And what do you get out of saying you can't?
Yeah. And who's telling you can't?
What is the secondary gain?
Yeah.
What do we get out of making it not about ourselves and blaming other people or other things or whatever? How is that, you know, how does that affect us?
Yeah.
But also too, like, have you built the body? You know, we've got to think we're in physical reality here. Have you built the body to anchor that dream, whether it's a dream job, career, or going overseas, whatever it is? Because with the energies floating around on this planet right now, man, if you haven't really anchored yourself, then you're going to become someone else's plan for sure.
Yeah. You just have to have that foundation.
Yep.
To know that you can have whatever ever you want. I mean, I've done it. I've created that, but it's, once again, when it comes to affairs of the heart, for me, that is where my obstacles start to come in, and it comes down to, I deserve it. I deserve what I want in relation to affairs of the heart. I'm harping on, we mentioned, Jay on a couple of shows ago mentioned, it all comes down to the work. How much work do you want to put in? maybe work's not the right word. How much effort, how much commitment do you want to put in to shifting and changing your life? Or are you ready to just to go to the next awareness seminar that will give you a jolt and hit you in the nervous system, and you'll hear everything wonderfully and hear all of that. But how much is it important to you to make the commitment to yourself to do the work, to do the inner work, and to make that commitment and make it a practice every single day in your life? Or do you want to say you want to do it and stay in the same story? Get that hit to your nervous system. It sounds great. It sounds fantastic. I'm reading the next book. Then you put that book down, and you just, in another couple of days, you go back to telling the same story because you haven't really gotten to the root of it. I don't feel like I deserve this, and get to that root cause of what your obstacle is.
Yeah, 100%, Jeff.
It takes the inner work to do it, and you're making that commitment. Here we go. Are you worth it? Do you feel yourself worthy to make the commitment to yourself to move through what you need to move through to have what you say you want in life? And all of us here have done that. And many of the people, watching right now have done it too. But there's an awful lot of people who haven't.
And what would you say to a viewer out there, Jeff? Someone that is not ready to drop it all or face some of those fears or obstacles. Someone that may not be quite backing themselves at this point in time and just staying in the norm or the safety or the comfort zone.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they're watching this show right now, then they're ready.
And
if they're watching Real Men, Real Talk Live right now, listening to us, then there's something inside of them, whether they're on the fence, whether there's feelings coming up. But if they're watching us right now, sharing what we're sharing with everybody, there's something inside of you that says things need to change. I'm not really digging my life the way it is right now. The world outside is pretty crazy, but I really want to have what I want to have. And if you're watching us right now, there's got to be that mustard seed inside of you, because that's all you need. All you need is just that, and you've got 4 guys right here who will help you out and guide you into that place, because I'm sure as hell doing it right on this freaking show.
We're live.
Do it live and raw, man.
I'm reminded of a story, and I haven't thought of this story. It was something I heard from a coach at a seminar probably over a decade ago, and I haven't thought about it since. But he said, go up to the fence of a playground and decide which child isn't worthy.
Right.
We are all those children.
Yep.
And we are all worthy, no matter what we've done in the past or the awful things that we think are unforgivable within us that we can't forgive ourselves for. I mean, we are all worthy of everything that we want and desire.
That is if Evis, I'm going to answer your question with Josh's answer. Start with that exercise. That is, you can visualize it. You don't have to go up to a fence, to a playground, but if you really want to feel it, go and look at all of those little kids. Look at them and say, is anyone not worthy out there to have the love that they want? And then place yourself in there. And
we are those children.
We are those children. That's a great beginning right there. So I just stole Josh's answer. To answer you.
I love it.
I'm going to jump in here for a moment. Yes, Mary Kelly, I am okay. She asked. I'm being a good active listener right now. Something that takes practice, especially for people like I used to be. And so for me, it's that's how I get to show up today. I am okay. I'm not having any of those muscle spasms right now. So far, so good. So thank you for giving me some of that treatment prior to going live. Jeannie Cash says, I've created a self-care program for myself and it's working. And she stole my tagline. I want to thank you, Jeannie, for posting that. I'm going to break it down for you guys. So my perspective, we're talking about obstacles that are the block from us achieving some type of change in our life. And I believe that what's behind the obstacle, even when we have people telling us we're worthy, we've heard it enough, all four of us, yet some of us, if not all of us, still have those moments of uncertainty. And so what I have learned is that I don't know that anybody can tell you enough times how beautiful you are, how worthy you are, how smart you are, how good looking you are, how pretty you are, how intelligent you are, how you are, all of those things and more. And are we able to really, at our ages, with all of those past decades of stories that we've held on to for dear life since our younger years, how are we able to really hear it, really receive it, and really, truly accept it as the truth, as it is today? No longer needing to live and hold on to the bondage of that past pain. And I'm asking this question. I don't know that I have the answer. I know what I seek out every day to help me navigate through those old wounds and tapes that little boy JJ still hears sometimes. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's through self-care. There wasn't a pharmaceutical drug that did it for me. I tried it. For 21 years, I tried those psych meds. They didn't do it for me.
I tried the illegal ones too. They don't work either.
And then, of course, there was years of therapy, and it didn't work for me. I didn't have one therapist. I had multiple therapists, and I either had a really bad picker, and I picked bad therapists, which is probably what was happening. I wasn't healthy, so an unhealthy person is going to attract an unhealthy therapist. That's my story in this moment. I don't know if that's really true or not. But nobody outside of myself has been able to truly bring me to inner peace. And the only way I know how to achieve it just for today is through self-care, acts of self-care, commitment to self-care. And self-care doesn't mean going, it doesn't mean going on a golf course, playing around a golf. That's maybe part of it. That's part of connecting with people. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about self-care where I'm able to just connect with myself and and just be with me and be okay with me and not feel like I need more in that hour or 2 or 3 that I may spend out in nature in any given day. Mm-hmm. I don't have any other gateway to get there because I haven't found it. But this is, for me, what helps navigate me through those moments where I do question, am I worthy of it? Am I worthy of love? Am I worthy of overcoming the obstacles? And, the truth is I believe almost every obstacle it's self-made. We create our own obstacles. We create our own barriers. We create our own blocks. We create a life living in bondage. Mm-hmm. Because what happened to us in the past is no longer. But yet we're still holding on to the part of that old experience pivot moments, traumas, wounds, pain that keep us still holding on to that idea that I can't break through that self-imposed obstacle.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Josh, you're a guy who's invested time for yourself, I believe, initially, and now you share it with others on studying really our brain and our relationship.
Mm.
The name of your book is Ship for Brains, SHIP. This is a G program. At least tonight we have gone definitely a little hard here on brains. So how from your perspective, do you have any experiences on how we could shred or smash our self-imposed obstacles utilizing what you have learned for your own experimentation of how to heal?
Yeah, and reframing is a massive tool, and especially when we don't have a clear path. It's a simple step: capture our thoughts in the moment that are unsupportive and choose new ones, and that's easy to remember, and it's easy to hold with you all day, every day. Just capturing those unsupportive thoughts that make us feel feelings that we don't want, whether they're come from somebody else or come from a story within us. And that's one of the biggest tools that I use. But in all of my studying of the brain, it's amazing. The brain is is not very accurate. And the prefrontal cortex doesn't develop until about age 10, and that's your rationing part of the brain where you question things in life. And the kid on the playground calls you ugly, and you don't have the ability to say, is that really true? So we've constructed these stories about ourselves when we were so young, at a time when we didn't have the cognitive ability to question them. But we can do that now. And so, yeah, reframing is a huge tool. I'm curious, Ev, what tools you prescribe to your wounded children and the people that you help.
100%. And I would say the number one tool is that I lead by example. So whatever I'm teaching or whatever I'm sharing, I'm not really trying to heal anyone. I'm just being an example through my personal experiences and what have helped me along the road. And when someone sees that, something resonates with them, then they're able to facilitate their own healing. That's the magic we have. But you boys are always hitting on the head. We definitely have to have that plan, and we have to have the blueprint, the roadmap. But one big thing for me is the visualization perspective when we're able to have a clear picture.
Yeah.
And you're talking about that brain, that image. What is the imagery that you're holding up? What are you paying attention to? We talk about this time and time again. Where is your focus?
Yeah.
Where is your attention being paid to? Are you paying your attention to the Hollywood culture? Are you paying your attention to the lamestream media? Or you putting your eyes on your own paper? It's got to be your show right now. You are the director, man. You are the author. You're the producer. You're the actor. Stop being an extra in this beautiful film you call your own life. And those couple of things for me, brother, have been really prominent in how I share with other people because they've helped me on my journey. And when there was blockages that came up, if it was from past programs or past hurts, shames, or guilts, then I was able to become aware and really become more emotionally intelligent, because it's through these emotions and these feelings that we're able to purge. Then it's really not about being based on circumstances that are going on around us, but more so our state of being. That is the key.
Yeah, definitely. It is about that focusing on what you want your life to look at. Josh said something earlier that's staying with me. If you look at your life and you're looking at your life the way it is right now, the first thing you can do is look at what you feel needs to change. You don't need to know how it's going to come out. You don't need to know what the outcome of it is going to be. You can picture your life and say, this is what I envision it to be. But it's about making the choice that I want to change. The 3 questions to ask yourself when you look at your life is change and order. And then you can answer that question.
Beautiful.
Can I change? That's the next big question. Can I change? Find your answer there. If it's yes, then ask yourself the 3rd question, will I change?
Yeah, man.
And then make the choice to change your life and then follow the path and follow the process, and it will.
Beautiful.
And change can be scary. And Ev touched on it. We've all touched on it. Let go of the how.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Totally. And that goes along with trust and surrender. And we keep saying it. We've said it over and over again. Completely. And you have to completely let go of the how.
Yep.
And just hold the why.
Yes.
Why?
Beautiful.
And that's and like what Ev was just saying, that's what changes your energy.
Yeah.
That's what changes, and that focus of, because we get caught up in the how is just a big distraction.
Exactly.
And it never turns out the way we want or we think it would anyway. Or just let go of that shit and just hold the why.
I think that's the big. I think that's it. That's the big thing. Let go of the who, the what, the when, the where, and the big one, the how. When you know why, and why is you. That's the why. Why? Because I deserve it. Because I love me. That if you know the why, that's it, man. Forget the how. Right on, Josh. Guys, yeah.
Yeah, love it. I want to take a moment here to thank our viewers that joined us this evening. If you are new to Real Men Real Talk Live, welcome. Some of the comments that are dropped from show to show, they're all beautiful. They're all so powerful, impactful. But some of them are really long. So, for example, I want to do a shout out right now to Ron Alvarado. I'm going to post it. I know it's going to cut really into our screen. There you go. We just lost 2 of you, but I'm going to read it quickly. He says, at one time, based on family and relationship, I was advised to get on meds. I'm going to read the rest of it out loud to you guys. Within 1 to 2 years, I removed myself from them, understanding they weren't my answer. Since then, I learned to tune out reality, hide my truths. Only recently, within the last 2 years, have I had educators and truth within self to honor myself and retrain my mind. Ron, I shared this because I want to just acknowledge you. This is beautiful. You just showed up real, vulnerable. You spoke your truth. I just want to honor you. And I know Jeff, Ev, and Josh are as well. This is why we do this show, because we wanted to create a platform for men and women to be able to show up and just tell their truth, drop the bombs. Because what I learned is that when I drop my truth bomb, I feel like I just lost a lot of weight, healthy weight that I needed to lose. It's a part of the healing process. And, I could tell you, Ron, I too shut down in my life for a long time. And I didn't share how I was feeling. And it shut down to where I didn't even know what feelings can feel like other than anger and frustration in my life. But beyond that, I couldn't even put it into words. And eventually it impacted my physical health and well-being and nearly took me to death. So I commend you, I honor you, and thank you for sharing that you're starting to learn who you can trust and how to trust, most importantly yourself, to to be honest and speak what you're feeling, even if it doesn't make sense. Like, just put it out there, but just know who you can trust to share it with, that will respect you and honor you and not try to fix you, but just listen and give you the opportunity to come to your own awarenesses as to what you need. I also want to take a moment here to welcome Gavin Cuff. Gavin, I don't know where you're coming in from, Gavin, but I'd love to know what city and state or country. Perhaps you are the Gavin from Sedona that I met at Synergy. I'm not sure. But Gavin says, it's a long one, so I don't want to block the screen here, but he says,
that's okay, Jay. You could take out Evis and you can still see me.
You still feel the same way, Jeff? You see how quickly the reality can change in life?
Yeah,
a few words that we speak can change everything.
Definitely.
A few words that we think can change everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even have to speak them.
Yeah.
But just by, this was just a metaphor for life. Like, just when we think we're safe, we get bumped. Something changes that we had no control over, which is almost everything.
Yeah.
If we truly want to live in a life of surrender.
Yeah.
Because that's what real inner peace is. Inner peace is not in trying to control our outcomes. It's breaking through the obstacles that are only false and not real. They're all just an illusion of the truth. Then we could start to experience inner peace. Gavin says here, I definitely like what I'm hearing. It's hard to hear for parts of it, maybe a generational thing at times, but I hang in there. Thank you for that, Gavin. Maybe just feeling I'm on the other side of the coin for parts, but I still get the idea. Like the focal point being the self, I find myself in others, how I treat or see or even just feel about others can often be an accurate reflection. In my life, I simply agree with the fact that there is no comparison you can make with others. Who are we? Gavin, I think you totally are hearing what we're putting down tonight. There is no difference. We can call it a generational thing, but I don't believe that is that it has to be that way. I've met some beautiful, beautiful young people out in nature in Sedona, where I call home today. And deep dive. Not only did we deep dive with these strangers at a summit at the peak of Boynton Canyon in West Sedona, but we had such a connection. This was I think 24 and 25-year-old couple that they then invited us to meet them for dinner a couple of nights later. And so the generational thing becomes an obstacle. It in itself can be an obstacle if we give it permission. The only thing separating any of us is our openness and willingness to hear and listen and maybe consider that what we thought, which was part of our belief system, may in fact not be the truth. And what we thought wasn't the truth may in fact become the truth. And that's how I choose to live my life today. That's what, for me, the definition of surrender is I don't have to have the answers, and I don't have to make believe or try to impress upon others that I do. And it changes our experience and how we show up for ourselves and then for others. So, Gavin, thank you for joining us tonight. And we hope you come back, because each show topic is different and brings a different perspective on living life and learning really the things that I know I wasn't taught, and I don't believe the four of us, including Charles, the fifth of us, weren't taught in our homes. We weren't given the blueprint, the GPS, the navigation system for truly the essence of a life, the important lessons in life, and how to embrace them and how to live in them and how to accept them. And so welcome to Real Men, Real Talk, Gavin.
Beautiful.
We are, it's unbelievable, guys. We are just coming up on the hour. We're at 59 minutes into the hour. The time flew by. I just want to again thank our viewers and listeners and fans that joined us live or on replay. please, please, please continue to share it out. Also, drop your comments, and even on replay, we pay attention. We are in the show all week long until the next show. With what time we do have left, this is the time of the show where we do in fact play a game called Musical Chairs. You guys know the rules of the game. You each have 2 minutes to share your final thoughts or comments. But I'm going to change it up a little bit tonight. I'm going to give you a short topic to hit on, to touch on, and maybe drop a truth bomb, a liquid gold moment, a key step for someone to work on their blocks or what's preventing them from breaking through their obstacles. So here's the question. I'll frame it out. We all in our lives have been in relationships, or we are seeking relationships, intimate relationships. From your experience in your own life, from your past and in your present, what do you think has been your primary obstacle from living in a healthy relationship, or in this moment, from being in a healthy relationship? So you got 10 seconds to process this question, and I'm going to give each of you 2 minutes to expand upon this. And so with that, let the games begin.
Hey, I've already revealed it. Josh revealed my main obstacle, and on top of that obstacle, the feelings of not good enough and not worthy enough. Do I really deserve to have what I say I want in life? I said earlier I asked Josh, what are the feelings that can come up? And the feelings that come up might be, I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect enough. I'm not worthy. Move into those feelings, and what's below that, for me, that was just revealed tonight, was, do I really deserve to have this love in my life that I want? Do I really deserve it? We all deserve everything, but I'm asking myself that question. And of course, my answer is yes. We all deserve everything. Up until tonight, I haven't realized that is my biggest obstacle that I now need to practice with whatever comes forward. As Josh says, we all agreed, I've got to let go of how I'm going to move through this, but I'm making the choice tonight to move through this, to know and embody in my beingness, not in my mind, not in my brain, but in the beingness of my heart, to know, yeah, I deserve the best of the best, and I deserve to have the relationships of the best of the best. I'm going to choose right now to work on that and to move forward and practice it each and every day. I'm not quite sure how yet, but like I said earlier, and Josh said it earlier as well, we have the amazing thing called choice. And if we just have the faith of a mustard seed to make the choice that says, I'm making that choice now to move through this roadblock, move through this blind spot, that I don't deserve it. Who told me that? But I do deserve what I want. So I'm making that choice tonight to begin this practice so I can have what I truly say I want.
Beautiful, brother.
All right. Well, you got a shitload of witnesses here. So we're gonna all follow up. We're gonna all. Who wants to be Jeff Fasano's accountability partner right now? I want our fans and viewers to light up the screen right now. And who's going to volunteer to be Fasano's
Yeah,
I've
got a few out there, brother.
Here that hold me accountable to this every week, twice a week.
Wow. I love that, Jeff. You know, you know what I love about you. There's so many things, but in this moment is how you show up every single week at this show. You show up, and if you're touching me at my heart space, and I get emotional, and I give myself permission to do that, because real men do cry. I learned that near death. But you're a teacher. You teach us that's okay. You affirm in this show that it's a beautiful way to show up for yourself. And I tell you what, the day I started crying as a man was the beginning of my journey coming home to myself. And I wouldn't trade this for the way I lived before.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I get worried when I have a period or a bout of no tears, no emotions, because I don't ever want to go back. I don't ever want to go back to that frozen block of ice, cold block of ice that didn't feel safe. I like how it feels, and I know you love how it feels as well. And so thank you, Jeff. But anyway, so getting back to accountability partners.
There's a few out there, brother.
I mean, we got a few volunteers. Well, here's the thing is I'll leave it up to you all as fans to either negotiate or double team, triple team, quad team Jeff Fasano. Even if you just do a quick check-in with him, drop him a note and Messenger and say, hey, I'm checking up on you. How are you doing today? What are you doing for yourself today? How are you changing your story? Are you honoring your commitment to yourself that you made? Because the word commitment, there's 3 words, there's 3 C's in my work today that I do and that I work with other men and women to inspire them. The 3 C's, the first one is clarity. The second one is courage. And the third one is commitment.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Without commitment, we got nothing. We're just shooting blanks one more time.
Yeah.
Commitment is the superpower. Action is commitment. So we're back to the game, gentlemen. Evasy, you have, I think you've been closing this out a lot quite lately. I want to have Josh Richard do what we call bookending the show. You open this up, and you're gonna be the last to close this out as a co-host. So I have Evis Heath. You remember the closing question?
I was gonna say, Jay, what was the question? Nah, look, man, I'll just quickly piggyback on that, and I respect everyone's time out there in the community. And as always, thanks, brothers and sisters on the other side of the pond. If you're watching here in the land down under, thank you from the bottom of my heart. But one thing that really stood out for me, particularly in that whole idea of what we call relationships, and I've mentioned this in previous shows, and we seem to be going back to that R word, but that relationship, that recycling, the to do again, to get the ship to go around again. You know, for me, we're going into a new paradigm of partnerships. And one thing that I successfully build in other partnerships now is connection. But I was never able to build that connection like I do these days from that heart space. It was a very logical mind space where I was creating relationships, and I take them very personal. You know, if it was a separation in a particular relationship, my anger, my guilt, my shame, my blame would project onto the outside world, onto that person, that time, that place, or that thing. And, you know, not so desirable results obviously come from those particular behaviors and, projections that we put out onto the world. So one big thing for me, I started looking in the mirror. I looked at myself. I went within. And all of our shows, we're talking about this. Brothers and sisters, what are we avoiding? It's going to show up in your life right here, right now. It's game day. The jerseys are on. All the players that are turning up in your soul family, in your community, in your group, they're here. But you've got to now ask yourself, am I willing to take ownership of my life? Am I willing to take responsibility of my life? And am I willing to start writing out a blueprint that is going to make me happy, feel at peace and joy, and harmonize to my true I am, to the true higher self? So on that note, my brothers and my sisters, thank you as always. I won't hold out too long.
Wow.
My man, Josh LaRoche. Josh Richard, bring it over, my brother.
Well, wait a minute, Ev. Whoa. I just want to take a moment here. We're not going to brush under the rug. What you just shared was so powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's okay for us just to take a moment here, just to take a breath, like receive it. You know, let's all receive it. Let's all take a breath together. Yeah, it's interesting, Ev, because what just happens in our relationships. You know, we say something that is really profound and really needs to be heard, and then we get uncomfortable sometimes. I'm not interpreting that that's what happened for you, but it's a metaphor of what happens in life. It's a good example. Is that we don't take a moment to just breathe and pause and allow it to be felt within. We feel a little uncomfortable, like, especially as men, like, did I just go too deep? Would I just go too vulnerable? And so we kind of shift.
Yeah, man. Thanks for that, brother.
And so, I want us to be able to honor each other and know when it's that we could take that pause and take that breath. Because I know for myself, even I can do a better job of that in my relationships. And it starts here, because this is one of 5, right, in my life. You know, tonight there's 4 of us, but there's a 5th one. Charles Maddox will be back next week on the show. But this has been quite the show tonight. We have been just busting down obstacles. Josh Richard, you're in a hot seat now. It's up. It's your turn. It's your time.
I just want to honor what each and every one of you have said in the last 10 minutes, because that is big, powerful stuff. Gosh, I mean, you ask, yeah, right? Yeah, I felt it to my core too. You are not alone, Ev. You blew the doors down. I mean, the most important relationship is with ourselves. And so I'm just going to close and turn the mirror on all of you watching and viewing, and to say, you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are enough, and you are worthy of all that you want and all that you desire, and you can have it. You can have it. Choose that you can and know that you can. Change can be fast. Change can be quick. I lived it from the moment I almost committed suicide to 100 days later. I was the happiest I'd ever been, because I believed I could change, and I believed I had the power. And you have that power too, and you're beautiful. So good night to all of you. Amazing, amazing, amazing people. And I can't wait to see what you create in your lives.
Beautiful, brother.
Welcome back, Josh Richard.
Good to be back. Holy cow. This was a big one. We don't mess around, do we?
Don't mess around here, man. Real men, real talk, brother. Real men, real talk.
You know, Josh, the first time I met you, I was introduced to you by another podcaster, and she suggested I reach out to you, that I need to interview you. And I really fell in love with you, and really early on in our dating, if you want to call it that, dating relationship here. Not only, of course, we share the same initials, JR, but I just love, you know, when you're not here, you miss, because you're such an integral part. You do matter. Your voice is so important for so many millions of people that have in fact been challenged with mental health disorders, suicidal thoughts, and potentially attempted suicide. And you know, that's perhaps a topic we haven't gone into. And maybe we'll talk about that in our production meeting for an upcoming show. But it takes so much more courage to not having jumped off the 5th floor of the Sony parking garage. And so thank you for making that decision to get the help you needed. And, you know, today, I know life isn't perfect, but you show up. You show up, you have tremendous responsibilities on set in your business. You show up for the show. You show up in all parts of your life that are important to you. But the most important is to yourself. And so that, my friend, don't ever walk away from. Because we need you in our life today too. So thank you. Here's my closing thoughts. I want to just take a moment to thank our viewers and listeners for continuing to support the show as the show evolves, as we learn and as we grow as hosts of Real Men, Real Talk. We appreciate you so much for being here with us and giving us the reason to show up each week and deep dive into real topics that affect not only men, but also impact our relationships with women. And so that's my thank you to you guys, to our viewers and listeners. As far as the closing thoughts on this topic tonight, is it possible that sometimes when we are living in this redundant belief and thought pattern that there's something that we want to achieve so badly, and we have these self-imposed obstacles that are preventing us from achieving that, is it possible that they're not really obstacles? Is it possible that we're not supposed to be doing that? Is it possible that we're right where we're at? Is it possible that it's enough, that we're enough? Is it possible that we can touch other people's lives, impact them in a healthy, positive way, inspire them, bring hope to them? And could that be enough even when we're not aware of it? By how we represent and how we show up consistently with love and kindness in our heart. So when we live in lack and we live having this belief system that I've never been able to get over this or break through this obstacle. Are we willing to open our hearts that maybe it's not an obstacle? Maybe it's just something you're not supposed to be doing. Maybe you're enough right where you're at.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And are we willing to accept that maybe that is the truth?
Mm. Mm.
Beautiful.
Now, I can tell you guys, I've had goosebumps most of this show tonight. You guys,
right now.
you guys lit me up tonight. I appreciate what we do. I love you guys. Thank you for continuing to show up. I do need to make a little bit of an announcement here to our viewers that for the next 7 weeks, unfortunately, Josh is he's out of the bubble. He crashed through. He broke through the bubble. He survived it. He thrived in it. He got everything he needed out of it and then some. But he's now on another major TV show for Disney. Josh, I don't know if you want to, if it matters or not, what the name of the show is. If you're not supposed to say it, it's okay. But in any event, Josh's schedule is not going to allow him to be on the show on Friday nights. And so for the next 6 or 7 weeks, we are going to change the night that we come in live. It's going to be Tuesday nights. And I know that for many of you, it is your Friday night date night. And perhaps maybe it just means that it's time to change it up because maybe Friday night is just getting old. And maybe Tuesday night needs to be the night that now you can connect with your partner. If in fact you are watching the show, as many of our viewers are that I am aware of. Tuesday nights, same time, 6 p.m. If we have to change it for some reason over the next 6 or 7 weeks, it's going to be a temporary change. There's a possibility that in a few of those weeks, we may come in Saturday night at 6 p.m., but it won't be consistent. So at this time, our next show live on Real Men Real Talk Live will be this coming Tuesday and 4 nights from now. Same time, same bat channel, same bat station, Facebook Live, YouTube channel, Real Men Real Talk Live. So those are my closing thoughts and words. Anybody have anything they want to say before I put a pretty bow on the show and call it a wrap?
Well, man, I think it's all covered, brother.
Tired. What's that, Ev?
I think it's all been covered, brother. Just absolutely beautiful. But as always, just thank you to our beautiful brothers and sisters out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What I've learned since we launched the show is it's not about the show. It's about the message. And with that, I love you guys. Charles, we hope to see you back next Tuesday. It's actually next Tuesday at 6 p.m. We'll send out reminders on social media. Thank you all for joining us tonight. If you heard something you like to love, please share it out. And I invite you to even take the time to watch a replay because so many times we are distracted with the live feed going and we miss some bombs. We miss some major, liquid gold pure moments of answers for yourself. And so I invite you to watch the replay and maybe you'll pick up something that you missed on the live feed. We love you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Real Men Real Talk Live.